Howdy, howdy, folks. Sorry, a few minutes late, but I got actually everything set up. Got you, got the microphone, got X, got my notes, and I got a great spirit and cigar for you today. I teased it out on one of the groups I'm in on X a little earlier. So today, I think, is going to be an exploration of sweet and spicy craftsmanship, and I think you'll figure it all out as we go along here. Sorry, make sure my hat's on right. You know, got to look good for the camera. I have two really thoughtfully crafted products, each aged in bourbon barrels, and they are made with meticulous attention to detail. And I think once we bring them together, they're going to be equal to more than the sum of their parts. I think it's going to be a really great show. I am pairing Penelope Toasted Bourbon with a Perdomo barrel-aged Sungrown Habano cigar in a Robusto. That's a whole lot to get out. I think this is going to be a really harmonious contrast and coming together. I forgot what the word is. Anyway, you know what I mean. So let's go ahead and get started with it so I don't keep bumbling around here anymore. First, we are going to have Penelope Toasted Straight Bourbon. Some of you may be very familiar with Penelope's Toasted. Some of you may never have heard of it. That's what I'm here for. So this is, get down here near the mic. This is a 100 proof spirit, so 50% alcohol by volume. It is typically aged. It's their signature 4-grain spirit. Oh, my fan. I have something on the table I don't normally have. It's a little warm here in Texas, and I got a little small box fan on here, and I had my arms down, and I was feeling something vibrating. Couldn't figure out what it was. This is their typical 4-grain spirit. It's aged 4 to 5 years and finished in a variety of custom toasted barrels. They list it as char 5 and toast heavy. So the toasted barrel will kind of infuse the whiskey with some added layers of sweet char and some spice and maybe some kind of baking confectionery type notes. As you can see, it is a very, very beautiful copper color. It is an extremely beautiful spirit in the glass. It's got really nice legs on it, on the nose. I get vanilla, specifically vanilla bean, and if you've had vanilla ice cream and vanilla bean ice cream, you know there's a difference there. I get like some toasted marshmallows and just a really nice hint of light oak, not overwhelming. It's got a very good aroma to it. Really like it. Now on the palate, the 100 proof is not unapproachable. It does have a little bit of burn or spice to it, not much at all. You didn't pick up any of it in the nose at all. I mean, there's no alcohol burn in the nose, and only just a slight burn on the back of your tongue as you're taking a sip. I get caramelized sugar, maybe like a conglomeration that would be like a cinnamon roll, some nutmeg, maybe a little graham cracker, and some nice toasted nuts like maybe toasted almonds. It's really a good spirit. It's really good. I've yet to have a Penelope I did not like. The finish is a medium to long finish. It's got kind of a gentle drying type warmth to it. Um, I do get some hints of like maybe toasted coconuts. And there is a lingering, it's not overpowering, so I'm trying to explain it exactly the right way. You get kind of this lingering, kind of heavy sweetness along the lines of, say, a brown sugar or molasses. And that's what I mean by heavy. It's not like it's overpowering. It's just that deep kind of sweetness. You know, you put a little sugar on your tongue, you put a little molasses or brown sugar on your tongue, it's a different kind of sweetness. It's still sweet. And I think that's where the difference comes in. It's a very balanced spirit. It is sweet, but not over sweet. And it's also, while it's warm, it's not overly oaky. Like I said just a few minutes ago, it's got a nice light oak to it. You can taste it, but it's not like something that's been, you know, double oaked or anything like that, where it's really overpowering. I don't ever like to talk bad about any spirit, but I tried several years ago when it first came out, like I think it was the Jim Beam's Devil Share, something like that. Because you have the Angel Share, which is what evaporates out of the barrel, but you also get whiskey that infuses into that wood, and they supposedly figured out some kind of process where they could extract that out of the wood. And I tried it, and it was just like, I mean, it was like you had ground up a piece of oak and put it in some water. It was just too oaky for me. So I think the toasted barrel finish kind of lends to kind of a mellower, smoother character on this one. Kind of along the lines of, you know, how the Gentleman Jack is, you know, triple filtered through sugar maple charred cubes, or what, you know, however they say that. And I think that this, along that same line, makes this both sippable neat, and it makes a very good kind of an ideal kind of pairing for a rich tobacco. I don't know if y'all can hear this in the background, but you might hear some music. I have, and I don't get money for this, but I'm just giving information. I have all my TVs are Vizio. I just like the brand. I know there's some out there that probably get much better pictures, but I love the picture, and I love all the stuff that comes with it, and I know how to operate them all. They're all the same. I can actually take one remote, turn this one on out here, go inside, use the same remote to turn one on in there, one upstairs. You can use the same remote on all of them. Just point it at the right TV. So actually, I think I'm gonna, before we get started on the cigar, go ahead and get a little more. Not a lot, just a little. Just want to make sure I got enough to get through the show. So, all right, now we'll go ahead and take. I'll show you one more time before I take the footband off. This is a beautiful cigar, and I think the colors that Perdomo came up with for this banding is perfect. It somewhat blends in with the cigar, but at the same time it contrasts. It's a really great coloring that they used on this. This is the Sungrown. And I had the thought there and it just left. And like literally just got up and walked out. This is the Perdomo Bourbon Barrel Aged Sungrown. And I expect it's going to have a sun-kissed kind of strength with a subtle sweetness to it. How about that? Hey, thank you all those folks that are over on X. Hey, glad to see you. I try to keep people apprised of when I'm going to be going live. Sometimes it's no more than like 15 minutes notice. So Actually, I was out here yesterday, had already brought everything out, taken the cigar out of the cellophane, taken the picture that was posted earlier, and that'll be the cover for where I go and share these at. And then found out that my oldest daughter was coming over with her boyfriend and her two dogs to go swimming. And I'm like, all right, well, I ain't gonna be recording today. So I just moved it all back inside, and we'll do this tomorrow. But I always do this on Saturday or Sunday, typically Saturday, but not always. I'm also trying to get better at looking up at the lens and still looking at myself. I'm still a rookie, I guess, after 5 years. Anyway, let's get on with this show. The Perdomo Sungrown Robusto, it is a Nicaraguan Puro, aged for a total of 6 years, 5 in a traditional aging room, and then an additional year. Sorry, I gotta stay on the camera here. My little rotating thing here is supposed to follow my face, but I always forget when I go back in to plug it up, so it's always dead. It's supposed to follow me. This lovely mug. Some you probably be like, hey, you could just put the cowboy hat up there and we'd be happy with that. But anyway, additional year spent in bourbon barrels. The secondary barrel aging process infuses kind of the subtle caramel and oak undertones, that you'll get from a bourbon, and infuses that. I swear, this was the first drink I've had today. Infuses that into the tobacco without overwhelming that nice Nicaraguan character that it has. This, as I said, is a Robusto. It is 5 by 54, which is generally the Robusto is 5 by 50. But I really like the heft of this cigar with that extra size on the ring gauge. I always say that Robusto is kind of my go-to size, but I really prefer it something more along this size, somewhere in the 5 to 5.5 by between 50 and 55 on the ring gauge. I have large hands, and it just feels better. So anyway, visually, this is a kind of a medium brown, oily Habano wrapper. It has, wow. Okay, there it is. Tight and basically invisible seams. I cannot believe I saw it, and I don't even think it'll pick it up on camera. I mean, that is excellent craftsmanship right there. Minimal veining. Of the veining that's there, that's visible, one. That's probably about the most pronounced one that there is on it. And it has a double cap on the nose. I get some nice earthy scents with a hint of spice that is typical for Nicaraguans, Nicaraguan cigars. And there's also kind of a faint molasses tone to it. All right, let's go ahead and give it a cut and a cold draw. I'm going to be using my Cassetti multi-cutter. You may want to do this if you're an old hand. Of course, a lot of old hands, they have their particular cut that they like to do all the time. But if you're new to the game, or if you're somewhat experienced, you might want to pick you up something like this. It has a punch on the bottom, and then it's got the guillotine and the V-cut. I typically prefer the V-cut on most cigars. When you're talking about, you can V-cut a torpedo, but it might not necessarily be as clean as you'd like it because of the way the torpedo comes to a point. Those you can just guillotine real quick, it's nearly impossible to punch the torpedo. So all the different cutters have, or all the different styles of cutters have their own pros and cons. This just kind of gives you everything all in one, and it comes in this nice little velvet bag so you can drop it in your pocket on your way to the cigar shop. You don't have to worry about it getting all scratched up. Now, on the cold draw, you get some really good hints of that kind of bourbon barrel woodiness. And there's also some nice hints of dried fruit like raisins or figs. And there's a really nice sweetness to it. You can't really like put your finger on, is it a molasses sweetness or just regular sugary sweetness. I think it kind of leans more towards the molasses kind of sweetness, a little bit darker sweetness. Maybe that's going to be the theme for the day is brown sugar and molasses. So, anyway, it is a very peculiar cold draw, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's one of those that you want to do it like 4 or 5 times. You're like, did I really taste as what I think I tasted? Now, the wrapper, the Sungrown, it is exposed to just a significant amount of extra sunlight that brings out the natural oils and strength, delivering a really nice medium to full body and a consistent flavor, throughout the evolution of the smoke. So let's go ahead and fire it up and see what it gives us. You notice I'm not burying the cigar down into the flame. You don't want to do that. And even when I was drawing, it's kind of hard to tell from here, but I was just touching the tip of the cigar to the flame. That's pretty good. I actually smoked one of these day before yesterday, so, Before I get into the rest of it, on the retrohale, it has a very, very strong retrohale on it that's got a lot of spice in it and quite a bit of tart to it. So it makes your nose kind of do like your cheeks do when you have a lemon, but then at the same time you get a lot of spice to it. Probably one of the spicier retrohales I think I've ever had. I still don't think I really did a great job in lighting this. Could be the cigar, but typically it's me. So I get some really good notes of black pepper, some roasted coffee, a little bit of charred wood. There's a little bit of kind of a baking spice to it. Yeah, you can tell that extra year of aging in the bourbon barrel is really kind of infused into the leaves really well and gives it a little bit of a bourboniness, I guess you could say. It's not like an infused cigar though. There's just some little hints back there on your palate as you're taking the draw. Oh yeah, those do go together really, really well. Um, and I think one of the reasons they go together so well is because you have bourbon and you have bourbon barrel aged. So that kind of common DNA kind of allows them to kind of pull together even a little more. You get a lot of benefit out of both of them having been touched by charred oak, if you can follow along with that. You get some really nice complementary flavors of like caramel and vanilla, and some nice toasted spice and charred wood. And I would say that the Penelope Toasted at 100 proof is not, you're not overreaching for a newbie. You know, a lot of bourbons, Irishes, and all that kind of stuff, they all start at like 80. And, you know, typically you'd want somebody that's their first time, you know, kind of getting into whiskeys. You want to kind of start with training wheels on. I think this is one that they could definitely start sipping from right away, and would be like, oh, this is great. You got anything any stronger? But watch what you wish for. So it's still not burning quite as straight as I think it should be. So I'm going to try and touch it up again here. So far, that's my only complaint. And I think that as well as these go together and they kind of tie together, I think there's also just enough divergence to create just a really engaging kind of contrast. This is only the second time that I have smoked this Perdomo Bourbon barrel aged Sungrown Robusto. That's a lot to get out. This cigar. And I really enjoyed it the first time 2 days ago, and I'm really enjoying it again. It's looking a little better on the burn line. It could very well have been my lighting. I'll kind of keep an eye on it as we're going through. And I don't know. I may be able to keep y'all on for most of the cigar, which is usually kind of unusual because I like to let y'all go ahead and get on with your day. 35 minutes is probably about, the most I go. Just want to keep people engaged though. Hey, I got even more people watching. Man, thank y'all for joining in. Man, it really makes me feel good. Now I don't know how to get back. I guess it'll go away. Yeah, this is, I know this is a medium to full strength, but it's definitely not an overpowering cigar at all. I think that somebody that's fairly new to cigars could probably pick this one up and roll with it. I typically, when I tell people that they're just kind of getting into cigars, I always push them towards the very light colored wrappers, kind of the Connecticut's and stuff like that. Say, for instance, an Olive O or G, something that's really mild. And then work their way up kind of with the whiskey. You start with the training wheels and then work your way up to the Tour de France. And if you're the first time watching me and, oh shit, I messed something up. There it is right there. All right. Need to leave things alone. I like to be able to see myself and also see how many people's. I can't see both YouTube and X, but I at least can keep up with how many people are watching on X. Tend to get more people on X than on YouTube. YouTube's watch it later, save to the watch list or something like that. This is really a great cigar by itself, but when you pair it with the Penelope Toasted, it just kind of kicks it up to another level of wonderful. starting to do that again. Right in there. Not much. But I always, I watch these guys. They'll do their cigar reviews, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's got a razor straight burn line," and I'm like, "Is it really razor straight? It's a natural product. I don't think they can control it quite like that. Maybe that's just me, but I've smoked everything from crappers to Davidoff, and this is my main phone up here, and so I'm seeing text messages and stuff pop up, and one from my wife to our girls there at work. It's like, girls, put your phones up. So these are our two littles. We have them from 36 down to 15, and the last two are 14 months apart. Almost Irish twins, 61 days short, or too long. That's how I got all this stuff out here, and I've got my iPad down here with my notes on it from smoking this cigar the other day, and so I get my text messages on both. So there'll be times I'll be on with y'all, and I'll be down here replying to a text message on my iPad. Got to multitask, I tell you what I need y'all to do. I would really appreciate it if y'all would do this. I have been trying to get Mrs. Sticks-n-Stonez to let me have a tiki bar back here at the No Shoes Bar and Grill. I need you to make comments on here. You need a tiki bar in your backyard. I'm going to spin this around here real quick. And I would want it to be right there. I already have it picked out. I would line the inside of it with cedar. That way I could close it all up and I could do my recording in there, not out here. In July and August, it gets a little tough to do this here in Texas. It's hot. It's only going to be like, 94, 95 today. About July and August, it'll be like 105. And then in February, it can be anywhere from 45 down to 15. And that's when I'm like, I ain't going out. I'm not doing that today. But if I had the tiki bar, I could go inside. And it would still serve as a great place for mixing and serving drinks when we have people here at the No Shoes Bar and Grill. See, I'm thinking. She won't go for it though. Y'all give me comment on that. He needs a tiki bar. He needs it. The No Shoes Bar and Grill bar. It's got to have a bar. All right. We'll show it again. All right. I have done nothing to it. Y'all have been on here with me the whole time, and it has straightened itself on out. It's natural. Probably the first time was my lighting. I'm not the best of lighters. And I can't find, I gotta reach out to my guy at Cigarism over in China. I had a Cigarism single torch lighter. It was, literally like that big. And of course, so it had a small reservoir in it, but that thing just sipped butane. And I would use it to do my straightening up. My Rocky Patel Envoy is a 5-torch. It's a blowtorch of a lighter. I'm like, hey, if you're going to do it right. We're getting close to the half, not quite yet. So I thought it was going to burn a little bit faster, but it's been a nice and easy burn. and that extra aging that goes into the Penelope is just adds that extra oomph to the bourbon, the bourbony, the bourbony kind of taste that you get. As I said earlier, the that custom toasting, because this one said char 5, toast heavy. It just kind of gives it that extra layer of kind of sweet char and a little spiciness, and then kind of some confectionery type, baking type sweetness to it. It's really, really great. I had one of the people I'm connected with on X. He had it. He was, had it in a picture the other day. He was sitting out back smoking and drinking. And this is what he was drinking. And I was like, yeah, I hadn't had that one yet. I've seen it, but I hadn't gotten it. And he's like, dude, you need to get it. So I was at my my little place. What's today? Sunday. No, what day was it? It was Thursday, Juneteenth, because I was off that day. I was celebrating Juneteenth. And I happened to be in my little place that not very many people know about. Matter of fact, I think I've only been in there twice when there's been more than me and the clerk in there. It's kind of like a little local chain, I think. And they happened to have it. And I wandered back and forth up and down the bourbon aisle. And I just kept going past this one. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on that. Because it was over 40, I think it's like $60. I could have gotten another bottle of EHT, but the last 2 or 3 times I've been in there, they've had that sitting out. You could get a bottle of that for, I think they're like $60, $70. Some places it's even cheaper than that. It is amazing is what has happened to the bourbon industry in just the last few months. But anyway, I was just like, nah, that's a little more than I had in my allowance. So I just got the toasted. But I've got a bottle of EHT single barrel that I haven't opened yet, and I got a bottle of EHT straight rye that I haven't opened yet. So more pairings are coming. Now I did go back and pick up a couple of bottles at Total Wine yesterday. Nothing really like earth shattering. I got like a bottle of Turkey 101. And one that really intrigued me. It was a very economical price, but it was Alexander Murray and Co. I think it's 10-year single malt. It's a single malt Scotch for those that are not in the whiskey world. So yeah, that really, I'm like, yeah, I need to try that. I actually heard. I posted a video today, I believe, this morning. It was a short, and a guy was saying that these are budget-friendly spirits that you should buy, and that was one of them. And he's like, "This is a single malt." Now, I think theirs was he was saying the 8-year, but I think if you're not double-digit years, don't even worry about it. Not when you're talking about Scotch. I'm having to see natural is waving again on me. That's just the way it works, man. Don't believe those guys when they're like, oh, this is a razor straight burn line. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with it. It's just natural. But as you can tell, I have some really beautiful stacks of ash, and you can also see right here where there's a seam. There's a seam in the probably the binder. I say a seam, a vein. Or even sometimes it could even be a stem. That's typically not good. They try to peel all that heavier stuff off. The goal is to have of course, the best smoking experience possible. And stems usually don't do very good. There has been a few times when I've had them like in the center of the roll. If you've never gone out to YouTube and watched actual rollers in Central America or the Dominican Republic rolling cigars, it is an experience. You will like watch the video like multiple times. Like I don't see how they do all that fast with this one little cutter, this little handheld cutter that's got a curve to it, and they'll just trim this stuff off, and they'll get their leaves, because they will have a selection of leaves inside in the filler, and they will use so many leaves of each kind that they're rolling. They may pair a jalapa and a Mexican San Andres, and they'll have so many leaves of each one that they'll put in their roll, and they'll roll that up, and then they'll roll it into a binder, which a binder leaf is a leaf that was really meant to be a wrapper, but it didn't quite make the cosmetic cut. So you can bind in it. And then you have the wrapper, which are the closest to perfect as you can get. And then they roll it in the wrapper, and then they put the cap on it. And I don't see how they do the caps. That's just, that part of it is just strictly amazing to me, how they get those little circles cut out, and they get the little glycerin, whatever sugary stuff it is they put on there. It's just amazing. And if you're ever down in Miami, go down to Little Havana, and they've got some cigar shops down there. Federico, I think there's more to it than that, but it's Federico. That was the biggest part of it that I remember. And they'll roll them right there in front of you. It's an absolute great way to go and spend a few minutes or an hour. Those ladies, those ladies there rolling when I was there. Those ladies, they got the cigars hanging out of their mouth. They're rolling cigars, puffing away. Kind of as we're getting closer to the halfway mark, probably about right in there, the halfway, a few more minutes. I don't want to keep y'all too long. We're already at 37. I went over. It's kind of starting to transition from the pepper and kind of roasted coffee to getting more cedar into it now. Some cinnamon. Some nuttiness. I think I used, I think I'd said roasted almonds at one point. But I think it's more of just a general nuttiness now. You could say peanuts or whatever, but it's just kind of that nutty flavor. Man, I'm telling you, these two together are a wonderful way to spend an afternoon, whether it's nice sunny afternoon by the pool or sitting in your local cigar shop, wherever it is that you are. It's a great place to, yeah, now I wouldn't say drive because you can't drink and drive. So, but I said earlier, I got the TV on in the background. It's Vizio's free channel. They're cityscapes. So it's like you may hear the music playing in the background. I tried to turn it down, but I always like to have something to listen to other than the whatever those are. And so it's showing cityscapes while it's playing this kind of elevator music. And yeah, there was something that was under construction, and it was huge. It was like a huge squared off thing. And there was a crane sitting on the top of it. It looked like it was still under construction. The crane looked tiny compared to this massive building. It's got to be somewhere over in the Middle East or the Far East. There's nothing like that in America. Now that, I recognize that one. No, I don't. It's built exactly. Oh, no, I see the little, yeah, it's got to be over in Southeast, Southwest Asia. Anyway, y'all aren't here to hear me describe cities. Uh, I'll go ahead and wrap it up and cut it off. We're at 40 minutes and 30 seconds. I'll get us out of here by 45 minutes. Um, I think together, the kind of the toasted sweetness of the Penelope bourbon kind of mellows out the kind of earthiness in the cigar, particularly in the first third. And as we've kind of deepened into closer into the middle of the cigar, and we've gotten into a little cedar and a little the peppercorn that's in basically all Nicaraguan cigars. The whiskey's nuttiness and marshmallow tones they kind of act as a soothing agent to kind of mellow out even more the cigar without letting go of its Nicaraguan base. During the first third, that's where the cigar is starting to gain its complexity, and the Penelope's nice long finish continues to provide a real kind of continuity, acting as almost like a buttery kind of sweetness that will help echo the richy notes of the cigar. I think overall, this pairing is a really fine example of. I'm gonna go ahead and tap this off because I know it's gonna fall in my lap before I let y'all go. Where was I at? Oh, I think it was a fine example of really great techniques in creating their product between both the cigar and the spirit. It creates a real flavorful harmony together. The bourbon kind of draws on the cigar's more sweeter nuances, while the cigar gives the whiskey kind of an earthier kind of anchor. I think this pairing really works well together because both the bourbon and the cigar have experienced charred oak barrels, but they kind of express that influence in different ways. Overall, I think this is a great pairing. I give it a 9.2 out of 10, maybe 9.3, something like that. I think anybody that tries either one of these separately or together will like them. You try them together, they're excellent. I think you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. Pick you up some Perdomo bourbon barrel aged sun-grown cigars. I recommend the Robusto, and definitely recommend the Penelope Toasted Bourbon. I am getting pretty close to having my Penelope stack completed. This is my 5th bottle of Penelope. I still need the Rio and the Havana. There may be a couple of more lesser knowns out there that I may need to. I hope you enjoyed this pairing as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Please hit like, subscribe, share, notify. Go visit Sticks-n-Stonez. Yeah, go visit Sticks-n-Stonez. But Freedom Fatigues, they are veteran and law enforcement owned. They make some great patriotic wear, just like this shirt. I love this shirt. The Don't Tread on Me motif. And if you put in Sticks-n-Stonez 20 at checkout in the little code box, STICKSN STONEZ 20, you'll get 20% off. Doesn't cost you anything more, but it saves you 20%. And you get to help this veteran out because, they give me a little bit for selling and giving you that code. I'm giving you a way to save 20%. And then you get to let me have a little something, and it didn't cost you an extra dime. It saved you money. How could you go wrong? right? And then, you can visit the podcast just about anywhere. Spotify, Spreaker, Spreaker is where I'm hosted at. Then it carries over to Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music Podcasts, iHeart, all those different ones. And of course, then this is on X and YouTube. If you just love seeing this, but you can also go to Amazon. You can go to the Amazon app where you buy stuff, and you can put in Sticks-n-Stonez, and you can find the podcast, and it's free while you're shopping. And we have a Sticks-n-Stonez store, saying STICKS-N-STONEZ. We got great stuff out there too. So till we get to be together again, keep your sticks dry, stones cold. Have a great day.